Strokes gained. Strokes gained 2024. Our first show for golf this year, boys. Andy Lack, brand new to the RPS team.
How's it going, buddy? I'm pumped to be here. This is exciting stuff. Kapalua. We're going to Hawaii.
Big T.
I'm excited. I'm excited for another golf year. It feels like it's been forever since you're going to get it going right out of the gate. There you go.
Happy New Year.
Get the confetti out to start the year.
Everyone thought I died last week because I was missing shows, but I was on a mandated break from sports and DFS for a family trip. But now I'm back.
What do those mandated breaks feel like?
Pardon me?
Like more stressful or less stressful?
It's a little more stressful because, there's still always problem solving at RPS, right? And,
every single day.
Every single day. But during the week last week, 12/27, we launched Andy Lack. Andy Lack of the Andy Lack podcast, Golf World, now Golf Digest, the top dog. That you run that place now, don't you?
Got my foot in the door at a couple places. Yeah, I'm the official gambling and daily fantasy correspondent for them. So anytime they want to wade their feet into the gambling and DFS waters, I'm their guy, which has been fun because you get a little bit of a different demographic than we hit at RPS. I think the RPS subscribers are a little more in the know, in the knowledge about actually playing lineups. Golf Digest, you hit to a little bit of a different base. So I'm not really tasked with, the in-depth reporting, the coverage that I'm going to be providing over here at RPS, but that's kind of what I'm here for. The whole objective, the whole goal, we talked about this on the podcast last night, Wiley, is that, if you guys are willing to take the plunge with us and trust us with our information, you will be getting all of me. I will be working tirelessly around the clock to answer questions. Hopefully we can answer some of those starting on this show and in that Discord community, which is kind of the lifeblood of the site, wouldn't you guys say?
Yeah. I mean, talk about Discord, Big T. I was mentioning it on the podcast last night, but people, and that's why we do these all sports packages. Now we are doing a golf alone single sport package, which you and I, Tony, have talked about for the last few weeks. But you'll find that even in the Discord, you'll jump into different channels. It's extremely active. You got very bright people in these rooms helping you make decisions up to lock. Bobby Hare convinced me to do an NBA lineup last night, and it did incredibly well. But the Discord's the thing with us, right? T. They're on right now.
I would say it's definitely the best. I mean, everyone thinks their site's the best all around the industry. My site's the best. This site's the best. But I know for a fact our Discord is the best. Like, there's no one that would argue. We even have some of the sharpest people not in Run Pure. You'll see them just pop in and say stuff in there, too. Some of the best players in the world do that. So it's a great place to be. And like the Prez says, one of the best parts is, so you're in there for NBA. All of a sudden, Andy comes on for golf. This week, golf's here. Pop in the PGA. The PGA is going to be going in there. Maybe you learn a few things. I know people love that about the site, though. College football has been going the last couple weeks. People pop in, get a ton of info from Bruce or whoever's in there. So definitely the best selling point of RPS is the Discord, without a doubt.
You said Golf Digest. I've got one of our partners, his dad, Dennis Patterson. Patterson was so excited that a Golf Digest personality was coming to RPS.
I love Dennis too. I mean, he's had to deal with a lot of rough things in his life, having a son that has a lot of issues and causes problems for everyone. It's a tough life. I'm happy we could bring him some happiness.
So I said, Andy, you've got to mention Dennis Patterson.
Dennis, it's good to be here, buddy. I'm glad to join the fam. We're all family here now at Run Pure Sports. So
I also guaranteed you write an article about him. So there's that.
Sure. One of my really useless talents is that I can be a wordsmith for anything. I mean, you'll get familiar with the fact that I can notch out 1,500 words on Pga Green. So I'm sure I can bang out something on Dennis at some point as well.
We did a podcast last night. Check it out. Download it. Andy Lack. Follow him on Twitter. He's now an RPS affiliate too, so he's fully entrenched in the RPS family. He gets it. He's seen the Discord. He's already written an amazing article that it was free for a little bit last night.
I told you though, Wiley, I actually think that's good. I think that's accidental good PR because a lot of people, I changed up the whole format of the article for the new year. I wanted to provide something different. I felt like the work I was doing at my previous employer was getting a little bit stale, and I've been kind of rejuvenated with this new employment opportunity. So I got a lot of great feedback from the regular readers of the article that have been reading it for 2 years. Like, oh, this is a nice change. It's shorter, more concise, and there's actually more information in there. And I think so. What's going to be great about this going forward is that a lot of people that were able to see it for free last week got accustomed to it, got accustomed to starting their week that way on Monday morning. So we got a lot of visibility on it, which was not the intention. And now it will go back to being paid. So hopefully you draw some people in that way that enjoyed it for free that last week. That was not our intent, but hopefully if you enjoyed it, you want to stick around for the rest of the season with us.
And so Andy's got some good downloads this morning from his podcast with me yesterday. And Andy said, well, it might be Wiley, the reason, but probably not. And so Big T and him became instant friends. Because what did Big T say? Never compliment Wiley.
Never. He's very needy too, Andy. Like, he always wants that credit. He wants that satisfaction of you giving him all the credit, and you just can't do it. It's something we can't do.
Well, I'll say this about Wiley too. What I've learned, we both have the same mindset around, almost to a fault, crushing everything in our path, right? Like, I'm sure you share a lot of that too, Big T, as well. But I think what we've been able to bond over quickly with this new transition is the dogged determination to make this the number one place and hub for DFS content. My job is the golf. Your job is a little bit of everything else on the other sides as well. We're going to talk about golf today. But let's get into it, guys. What are we thinking? You tell me. You guys steer the ship. You guys set some picks, and I'll do my best to work around them.
Well, I mean, I said last night on your show, I said, I do these, I put notes together after every tournament where I don't do well. And I just have notes for my future self to say, listen, dude, you may think this and this about the course, but it's probably going to be this you need to look for. And Kapalua for me in my course notes, which are now, I feel very inferior to what Andy puts together concisely. And very detailed. My course notes are more bozo land, but that's my content. But out of the main point that came out of my notes in historically was wedge play and approach within 100 yards, right? I mean, because it's vastly wide open, this course, Kapalua. It is a mountain. Wind is an arbiter of success here, but you've seen minus 30 scoring in the past. And so you have to get it close to the hole, and you have to make a ton of putts and birdies. Bombers, have done well here, but Andy, you go over the course for us briefly.
Yeah, bombers certainly have, because you're just going to see some booming drives with the elevation changes, but not totally a prerequisite for success here. In terms of the skill required, this is one of the easiest ball striking golf courses on the PGA Tour, right? That's why we've seen players like Cameron Smith and Patrick Reed, Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas to extent. All those guys can get a little bit loosey-goosey off the tee. These courses 59-yard wide fairways. Driving accuracy is not really something you're going to want to put at the forefront of your mind this week, nor is really off the tee skill in general. Instead, kind of Wiley, as you mentioned, it's that overall approach play inside 100 yards, wedge play. If everybody's driving it into the fairway and there's kind of these collection areas in the fairway, then more often than not, players are hitting from similar spots, and what happens when that's the case. The emphasis falls squarely on the second shot and the putt. So kind of to distill it down to two major key points here, I would say that to succeed at Kapalua, you either need to be elite with your wedges and short irons or with your flat stick, right? So those are kind of the two checkpoints that I'm looking for this week. If a player is not excelling at one of those things, instant cross off in my player pool, right? So like a Cameron Young, for example, I struggle with him this week because he's not an elite iron player right now, and he's not an elite putter, right? But on the other side of that, like I could make a case for Brendon Todd this week because he is a top 5 Bermuda grass putter in this field, top 5 lag putter in this field, a top 5 slow green putter in this field, right? So basically to distill it down to these two key points, the way I'm looking at my player pool this week is you need to check one of those boxes for me. And if you're not checking either, I'm probably out on you.
Yeah, and he gets Tesori now. Brendon Todd gets Tesori. World
Such
class.
a strange move. I didn't even realize my two comparison points were the Tesori connection. Yeah. Yeah.
T, one of the best sports for you in terms of DFS and your success over your lifetime. You and I build in similar ways. You take strong stands. You go heavy into certain plays, and you counter ownership, projected ownership. What makes you successful in golf, man?
Yeah, I think definitely it's been my most profitable. He obviously won the Millie 1.2 million 2 years ago on the players, but outside of that, it's still like my most profitable, not even counting that. And I think what I do that others don't, talking to some of the other big players in the industry, a lot of them, golf is their worst sport. And I think it's because they play everyone. They want a piece of everyone. And it works for other sports like NBA, NFL. They're able to play everyone and get different combinations through the way they build. I don't think that's the right way to do it with golf. So I always take stands, and the best plays where I'm a little different from Wiley. Wiley is way more contrarian than me in golf. I don't have to fade a guy just because he's 27% owned compared to 16% owned or something. If it's the best play, like this week, for example, Morikawa, 4 straight top 7s here. I'm just always going to bury Morikawa this week. Like if a guy's finished here top 7, 4 straight years, he's 12-1 to win the tournament. I'm just going to bury him. It's that simple. And I definitely don't lean into stats as much, which is why I'm happy to have Andy here. Because the more you can like put into your soup or whatever, the better. If you can include some stats with your field plays, it's only going to help you. But definitely the reason I've had success is just taking stands. And you know what? It's not going to be right every week. Sometimes you'll go in on Morikawa, he'll have a bad week, or whoever that week, he'll have a bad week. You move on to the next week. We always got the next week coming. That's what's fun about DFS. I'm just not going to ever play everyone, and I think that's the mistake a lot of people make in golf.
I think that in a week like this, in a small field, no cut event, right, Andy?
No cut event, 59 guys in the field. Supposed to be 60. Rory's taking it off, but Rory's 59 out. Guys in the field. Yeah.
I thought it used to be all winners from the previous year. There couldn't have been this many winners.
It changed.
Year, right?
It changed.
It's no longer the Tournament of Champions. This is everybody
that the Sentry.
It's still called the Tournament of Champions, but it's really everybody that qualified for the second round of the FedEx Cup playoffs. So that if you remember that 50-man field from the BMW Championship, plus a couple guys that won last year, maybe that didn't qualify. So there's 59 of them. 59 in this field.
Yeah, and the so I mean in this type of contest, I mean I'm near lock. I'll probably be a lock on one person or near lock, and perhaps even two. It's like showdown. In small fields, the one that I won in August, I forget what tournament. Maybe it was tournament championship. I forget which one I won, but you've gotta have one or two that are locked that are in the final lineup, and then have your mix in the 4 that you probably want to put together. And this field is probably no different. So I mean, the first name I thought of was Morikawa because Rory's out, and he is now 2,000 plus less than Scheffler. Again, 4 top
The
10s.
Morikawa is a misprice. Now, just because he's a misprice doesn't necessarily always mean that you have to jump on every single misprice, because there's going to be a push-pull with ownership on that one too, and he will be the most popular on the slate. But Morikawa was $500 cheaper than Wyndham Clark.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
So you guys bring up a great point with that, and that's where I think I've gained the edge in the past. A lot of these people, the big people included, will play Wyndham like 10% or something because he's low owned, and they'll use that as their reason. I just never would pay. I would just fade him. Like, I'm not paying $9,600 for Wyndham Clark when you can play Morikawa for 91, and that's just how I build. Same thing with Brian Harmon. I love you, Brian Harmon. He's made me more money than anyone on this earth. But I'm not paying $9,300 for Brian Harmon in this event.
You hate Fitzpatrick too. I know you do. He's a fade for you.
I cannot pay more for Brian Harmon than Colin.
I'm out on Fitz too.
Yeah,
and he's not a good enough iron player in my opinion.
Fitz is a guy you want to cut because he's more of a solid guy that he's always going to battle for you, tough conditions. You don't want Fitz on 59, whatever you said. 59. How wide are the fairways?
59 yard wide. Yeah, 30 under par.
Freaking yard wide. You don't want Fitzy at stuff like that.
Yeah, and I will have because I already have ownership compiled. We've started to get some early numbers start to roll in. So if you guys have any ownership questions, you can drop it in the chat. We'll get to all of those, and we can start talking a little bit about ownership too. But every Wednesday morning, I will do a full ownership report. So I'll give my 4 guys that I'm playing. This will be another article, subscriber article, and then I'll run through ownership for every section, what I think is good chalk, what I think is bad chalk, kind of hitting on that point that Big T's talking about, right? It's like the key to PGA DFS. It's not really about fading chalk for the sake of fading chalk. It's about being able to decipher which is the chalk worth playing and which is the chalk worth fading, because there is a lot of bad chalk certainly, and I'm probably a little bit more contrarian than you as well, Big T, but I'm always workable, I'm always changeable, I'm always listening and trying to talk to smarter people and pliable in my strategies. But we'll go over all of our ownership tomorrow in that article as well, and then we'll do a premium last minute show as well, because I would assume a lot of people are like us. When do you guys build? When do you guys actually build your lineups?
I'm a Wednesday builder for sure.
Wednesday evening or Wednesday morning?
Yeah, Wednesday evening.
Me too. Yeah, me too. Because things change, like in the next 24 hours. So that's why
I'm up to Thursday lock plus the Hawaii time gives you the benefit. I mean, that's why we'll put our cores up and some of our convictions, but you'll really, like I did that with NBA last night. And I had a great lineup that I just punted because I thought, you know what, I'm going to lock these 3 players. And it was not the right thing to do. I did that 3 minutes before we went live on the podcast, so I regret that. But that's what happens. I mean, that's, so what RPS's value is here, and what we understand the value to be is, you have very smart people who do a lot of research, who are very educated in different sports that help you with 95% of the decision-making because a lot of people don't have time. Everyone's going to have their own 5% bias into what they want to do. I mean, Tony said that before. No matter, he could give out his entire lineup. People are going to be different because they just have to have their own conviction. And I'm the same way, and everyone else is the same way too. But the ownership projections tomorrow will be fantastic. Someone asked about who they think is going to be the highest. I think it's going to be probably Morikawa Hovland. I think Aberg will be probably pretty high. I think there's some pivots off Aberg if you don't think that, that's the play this week. I mean, this is going to be short game and putting. Like you said, Brendon Todd types who can make, who driver negated and could just make a ton of birdies with their flat stick. I will not fail to mention Andy 15 is the code, or Andy. We have 2.
We have 2. Because I advertised the wrong one on the podcast.
Yeah. So we scrambled at about 2 a.m.
Yeah, that was either works.
Andy 15 is the code, 15% off your first payment. But the all sports package. Here's the other thing: the value of our partnership with Sabersim And I cannot give enough credit. We cannot give enough credit to Sabersim
Because
in
we got a question in the chat about that too. So
yeah,
maybe hit on that as well.
yeah. In the ability for Sabersim to take your thoughts, to take your, again, convictions and what you believe will happen in a tournament, and then assemble lineups against the contests you're playing to give you higher returning ROI lineups. Because some of the lineups that you play, even though they match your convictions, are so aligned with what everyone else is going to play that if they don't hit, they're just dead money. And so that's the ability of Sabersim here, and why we love it and love our partnership. Shout out to Andy and the team. Happy New Year. Yeah, that's. I was going to finish my thought, but I cut off my own sentence.
Down to 25%.
Yeah, I know
I'm down to 25%. Usually it's JSU just shitting on me. What a difference.
And also we will have, because I got a question before, we'll have golf only shortly, right?
Probably within the next few hours.
Okay, so when we have that, I'm gonna run my own promo for that too, because I had a bunch of questions this morning too on the golf only stuff as well. So I wanted to. I told a couple people on Twitter right before we went live that we'd cover that in the show. That will be. I will tweet that the second that it's available. It will be the same code as well, right, guys? So like, even if you want to just do the golf only option, you'll still be able to get the 50% off with the Andy discount.
Yeah, we'll do Andy with a string of 12 numbers just to make it more.
Make it more complicated.
Yep.
Also, just to give you guys my numbers on what you said, Wiley, to answer the highest owned question, I have Morikawa right now as the highest owned on the slate at 30.8. And I have actually Cantlay, Xander, Scheffler, Ludwig, and Eric Cole and Cameron Davis kind of just right behind him in that 23 to 28% zone. So
Cameron Davis.
And if you guys have any specific questions about ownership, I compiled it right before the show as we stand now for every single player. So just drop it in the chat and I can reference any player you guys want for that too. But yeah, I have Morikawa leading the pack right now at like 31, but it's not a resounding lead over like Scheffler, Cantlay, and Xander. I don't know yet who's going to be the one that emerges as the highest owned, but they're all in the same zone right now. I have them all. I thought it would be Scheffler that would emerge, but right now I have Scheffler, Xander, and Cantlay all between like 23 and 28.
Tony, or Big T, excuse me. People don't know your real name. I think I hope 30% of the people play Aberg, because I have 1, 2, 3, 4 plays in that range off of him that I like better.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where you differ from me. You definitely get more contrarian, which I've seen. And I mean, I'm just like never getting off him. Like, I just fully jam plays like that. I don't know. He's got 4 rounds. He's peaking. I don't know. Like, he checks. And I finished the tournament. I know a lot of people like the tournament note sheet on the site. I don't know what it's actually labeled under. What is it? Tournament info, I think, on the actual site.
Info. I don't
all
like
the
that.
numbers are updated for this week. So anyone that's watching and is already a member, all of that's updated. The odds kind of show the value. If you look at the value column of my sheet, you'll see the plays that I think pop. Abear, Henley, Eric Cole, Cam Davis, Benny On. That's just a little preview of some of them. But check the sheet out. All those guys in the value column, I'm hardly ever fading because it's based on odds and other stuff, but mainly odds and price. And those guys are just too cheap. Also, one more thing I wanted to say about the golf only, as Andy was talking about it. First of all, we got to get Andy some gear mailed out, but we got all the gear you want to give out in those promos too. So when you guys do it, all kinds of gear.
Did you guys send me anything? Wiley asked
we need to right now, though. I'm going to get your address after this show and get it all out.
I'll shoot it. Yeah, I'll shoot it over to you. Beautiful Santa Monica right now. Is it cold where you guys are in Kentucky? What's the temperature for you guys this time of year?
36.
Yeah.
36.
38. We'll average it out. Oh, and Tony, by the way, last night, the podcast, he's one day into RPS and he already wants us to get him on Valhalla and LCC.
He needs to come.
We can do that.
I'm thinking about coming. Well, I'm really bummed that we didn't start this 1 year earlier because the PGA Championship last year was at my home club, and now it's where you guys are. So you guys are going to have to wait maybe another decade for me to host you guys at Oak Hill. You can come up anytime for non-PGA. You guys probably have more fun playing the course on a non-PGA Championship week and just playing it than being there for the PGA. But I'm going to try and make it down for Valhalla. What's
the actual date of it?
I want to say mid-May. I want to say May 17th-ish range. I try and go to 2 majors a year, and I'm going to the Masters with my dad for the first time. He got COVID last year. This has been like our bucket list dream trip to do since I was 5 years old, and we're finally doing it. And I don't think I'm going to Pinehurst. So I'm going to try and make Valhalla work too.
We got to do it for sure.
Yeah.
I was going to say something. Oh yeah. I was going to say, I took Big T out to Lexington Country Club, which is better than Valhalla. And he hits it about 350.
Do you really?
So
I'm going to, Wiley, do you know who designed that? Do you know who designed Lexington Country Club? I'm going to look it up. Right now. Oh, Benzelo is good. Provocative greens. How are the greens there? Pretty quick.
We just redid them all.
Yeah.
Oh, quick. Yeah. 13, 14 stimp every day, pretty much.
Yeah, he does a good job. He does a good job.
Here's let's do misprices.
Okay.
Let's do misprices. The first name that really popped out and his ownership projection seems unusual to me. I don't think it's going to stick this low. Was Corey Connors was 1 at 7.5, and then our guy Sanjay M at 8.1, who can make this is a 30 under type course. If historically it can be, but M can make everything. He'd make a ton of birdies, a ton of eagles, streaks, points. He could win this thing at 8.1. M really stood out to me, and then so did Corey Connors. M could be in that, I talked about Morikawa, but M could be in that lock zone too. Do you think so too?
Sungjae looks a lot better numbers-wise. I love Corey Connors too. He's on my Millie team. Love him. He just doesn't pop as much, just odds-wise. Like Eric Cole's 100 cheaper. He's profiles better than Connors, but Sungjae at 35 to 1 on DraftKings right now. He's got the last 3 years too, 13th, 8th, and 5th here. Yeah, I love Sungjae with you, and he profiles almost exactly like Cam Young and Sam Burns for a little cheaper. Way better than Hideki, I think, in that range, and he profiles great. I agree with you totally. And Sungjae is always going to battle for you too. He might not win. Like, I don't think he wins this event very much, but I think he top 10s for you a lot, which is all that matters. Everyone always thinks you got to have all winning. You don't need all 6 of your guys to be a winner. Some of your guys can just be solid guys that finish 10th, 12th for you that keep the team moving. So
you'll likely need the winner this week, like every week, but you're right. Some guy could, top 20 and have 6 eagles. That's just, hyperbole, but they could get points. That's why golf is goofy and the projections are strange, because it's not always correlated to your score. How you get there is, a bunch of eagles, few streaks.
You just said it, why golf is beatable too compared to other sports, at least for me. Projections don't mean anything.
They mean nothing. Ownership does.
I can throw any numbers in there.
Anything.
Yeah, and that's what negates everyone else. A lot of these top players are really good, but they also have the best projections with sports. Golf, they cannot project it. They just can't. So that's why they lose at it.
Unless DraftKings were to change scoring and make it all heavily weighted in terms of how you finish, They got rid of streaks. They lessened what eagles meant, or holes in one, or all 4 under 70, and all these bonuses. Then projections could mean something if it was completely related to, yeah, you picked 3 guys in the top 5, you're going to win. But for now, it's Keno, baby. So who are the guys, Andy? That score a lot? That can score a lot this week
Okay, so
at good prices.
Okay, so where are you guys on the Jordan Spieth experience entering 2024? Because I have Spieth sandwiched in between, and there's statistical course fit reasons to play Spieth. Obviously, he's a winner here at the Pass. You want him on these big, wide open golf courses where he can spray it a little bit off the tee and rely a lot more on his approach play. But I have Spieth sandwiched in here between Tom Kim and Ludwig. I don't like Ludwig this week. I do like Tom Kim, but I have Kim at like 17 and Ludwig at like 27, and Spieth is just wedged in between there at like 7% right now.
Spieth in my first hand build, just looking at pricing and guys who are good wedge players and can make putts, he was in my first hand build. And I know that he's 8.8. He's a little more expensive, but
still,
I'm a sucker for him.
Yeah, and if you swapped Wyndham at 9.6 and Spieth at 8.8, is anyone blinking? Right? Like I think 8.8 is, I don't necessarily if I want to plant my flag on the underpriced, but I could think of 4 or 5 golfers in the 9s that I think should be lower priced than Spieth. Fleetwood, Brian Harman,
Wyndham Clark.
Hatton, I don't love on this golf course. Wyndham Clark. Yeah. So 8,800, that ownership could raise because maybe people see a 20% discrepancy between Ludwig and Spieth and start to ask their own questions. But I have Spieth comically low right now when placed in context with the other guys in the high 8s.
The guy that if I play him, he'll withdraw or miss a cut that's at a no cut event, somehow miss a cut. Or if I don't play him,
I know where you're going with this.
If I don't play him, he's 12 under through 13 holes on Thursday, and that's JT Poston. I probably will play JT Poston just because the guy can score on a driver sort of neutral course. Good wedge player, putts, can just make a ton of birdies. I mean, he could just score at 7-2.
I'm in as well on Poston. Probably, I would say if we're talking low 7s, Poston, Denny, and then I know that you're less chalk averse than I am, Big T, but I would be curious if you're willing to eat it on Cole or Davis, because both those guys rate out incredibly well for me statistically, but I have a super difficult time, even in a 60-man field, swallowing like 24% ownership on a 7.1 guy and 22-ish% ownership on a 7.4 guy.
Yeah, I mean, so just in general, I like the expensive chalk a lot more than the cheap chalk. Like right. Eric Cole, for example, 50-1. Everyone's going to play him. I know you already had a bet on him too. I think I seen somewhere that you like the bet. I like him too, but everyone likes him, like you just said. So would I rather play? Hold on, let me see my stuff. Eric Cole at 20-something% owned, or any of these guys in here. I mean, like Kitayama, for example, 2% owned. This is where I would leverage ownership a little bit in that range. I mean, no one's going to play a guy like Kitayama, and his odds are way worse for sure. But we've seen
if you play 6%, you're 3x the field.
Yeah, I mean, you just have a lot of edge there. And Eric Cole, I do tend to eat chalk a little bit more with the putters, like Cam Davis. I don't know what I had him. What do I have him projected at? Like 15% too, or something like that. Just because he's so cheap and his putter's just good, like Cam Davis, Denny for that matter too. I'm more willing to eat chalk with them, but I don't like chalk as much down low. Also, I want to know, I'm still rattled from the Ryder Cup where they pronounced Abear's name right. I need Wiley to get his little monotone voice thing out to tell me how to pronounce his name correctly.
Who's this?
Abear. During the Ryder Cup, I always thought his name was Aberg, and they rattled my cage during the Ryder Cup calling him Aberg.
Obear.
Obear. That's what it was.
I'll challenge. Okay, I'll challenge you on that. We're going to go to the voice modulation system.
That's what I want.
We will get it. We will pull that up. It's the bonus at RPS. We'll reveal this behind the paywall for free right now, but you get every name pronounced correctly at RPS as part of your package. Here's the thing too about this course. I think Ron Kloss, PGA Splits, tweeted this.
Good dude.
Good dude. Out of the top 20 distance drives this season or last season, I think 70% of them came at the Sentry with ridiculous numbers, like Luke List 459, Scheffler 450. Cam Davis can absolutely murder a golf ball off the tee. But it's interesting that this course, because of the undulation, the wind, going downhill, and by the way, I think it was Kip Henley who told me, that's a flex, when he was caddying for, I forget who was the last guy, maybe it was Mackenzie Hughes, also like Mackenzie Hughes. He said this is the most grinding walk for us by far on tour, particularly I think it was hole 17. I don't know if you've played this course, Andy, but
I haven't. We were on Big Island, and I believe this one's in Maui. I played a lot of courses like this. It's cool. They've got insane land in Hawaii. Like the golf courses are built basically into volcanic rock. So I'm dying to check it out, but
strokes gained quads. That's an advantage play this week. I'd factor 5% quad size to walk 5 days.
Who do you think has the biggest tree trunks in this field?
In this field? Oh, it was Rom, but he's gone.
It's
who is a big boy?
I think you know who it might be. It might be Sepp Straka. Yeah. It might be Sepp Straka.
It's got to be Sepp.
Straka's a unit. Straka's a unit.
He's got to carry that weight around for. It's not like The Rock fitness weight. He's got a lot of heavy to carry around for 4 days.
Yeah, you actually might
National
go in the Slender Man route with Aberg, kind of big but light on your feet at the same time, or Aubert. Yeah,
Justin Thomas not here. Can you believe that he's not at the Sentry in a non-year when winning didn't matter? That's just.
Yeah. Do you guys think he plays the Sony next week? I'd be curious about that.
I don't think he does if he didn't play this. So? But I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't looked.
Well, he wasn't invited to this.
Oh, he wasn't even invited. I thought he just didn't
qualify.
Didn't qualify.
No, didn't qualify.
I think he could play next week. Then I just assumed.
Yeah, I think he might too. I want to get to this question Jason posed for me in the chat too. Are we on the slow greens? Anyone can put on these greens narrative. I've been trying to. This is true skill. Like you haven't lived till you try and answer every single question in the chat simultaneously while also paying attention to what you guys are saying and talking on the show. But I'm making an effort because that's what we're going for. We want to be super interactive and get to everything.
Here's what you have to do. When you're like, my eyes are fixated on the comment section the entire show.
Same.
And this is a much more afternoon based kind comment section. When it's Sunday, it's like your face looks like you got a Botox, you idiot donkey from Kentucky. Yes. So they're being nice right now. But
super nice. They're being super.
Keep your eyes focused in the comment section. But you go ahead.
Yeah,
sorry.
super well until Cantlay finishes DFL, and then we'll hear some different opinions, I'm sure. But Jason asked about Are we on the slow greens, anyone can putt on these greens narrative, or are we on you have to shoot 30 under to win at this course, need a hot putter narrative? It's kind of both. Like slow greens is a matter of personal preference. So one of the things that I broke down in the article is who are the guys that raise their baseline on slower greens versus faster greens, right? I can give you some anecdotal evidence of that in terms of just off the top of my head, like Sam Burns, Brendon Todd, really good on slower greens, right? Hovland too. He's won a lot of those times on past Palm. Somebody like Matt Fitzpatrick, Keegan Bradley, they have a lot more success on faster greens. So it's a matter of personal preference. At this golf course, you want to identify the types of players that putt better on slower versus faster greens. And you don't have to do that. I will do that for you. That's in the article. And I can answer specific questions on players for that too. And so it is kind of both. Like, yeah, you absolutely need a guy that can spike with this putter. You are specifically looking for the type of player that can catch a hot putter, has the ability to spike with his putter, and also has a tendency to putt the best on slow greens. Those are probably the most likely players to putt well here. So I actually made a specific putting ranking for Kapalua that's in the article as well, of like the guys that combine the best overall putting, slow green putting, lag putting, and Bermuda putting. If you guys want to vamp for a little bit, I can pull that up in the article too. But I got you covered on all the putting stuff, guys.
Are you in the position, because a player told me this once, that it's more better putters play better putters on slower greens? It's easier for him, a not great putter, to putt on faster greens because less backstroke, less room for variation on impact. Whereas slow greens, it's line and speed a little more difficult. I mean, he said that, not me. I'm not the pro, but
there's tons of examples of that, and there's tons of examples to the contrary. I think you want to land is it's personal preference. Like how many bad putters?
Well, this is the point of the show where you always agree with me. So
I do agree with you to a certain extent. Like you look at Augusta and a lot of Hideki, a lot of Adam Scott, a lot of Sergio Garcia, right? Like a lot of these historically bad putters. Why do they putt well on the most difficult greens on tour? Maybe because it takes a little bit maybe because everybody's putting, everybody's having such a difficult time. So it takes some of the advantage out of it. Andy Lack will not agree with Wiley. There you go. So yeah, it's personal preference, but I broke it down in the article too, in terms of like slow versus fast, who raises their baseline.
I agree with Wiley. I'm not a great golfer, but decent golfer, low single digit handicap. I always putt better on fast greens. I don't know why, but slow greens, I just can't read them. Like I'll come way short, go way deep. Fast ones, you just get it online and you got a chance to go in at least. And I think I'm a bad putter. So it makes sense, Wiley. Excellent point.
Thank you. Thank you, Big T, one of my best friends on earth.
Suck up.
I don't need credit for anything, and I don't need to be agreed with.
Oh, now you don't. You got to bring it back a notch to get it in there.
Where is it? There it is. There we go. We'll get it. There it is.
There she is.
Well, so Wednesday, by the way, I think we've chewed off a lot of stuff here on this show. Wednesday will be 8:00. Will be a premium show for members only, and then we're going to really start digging down and building lineups, giving our stances. Everyone is going to have their own stance at the end of the day, but if we can help you get to a better decision point based on Andy's research, our history with DFS and golf. The premium show is at 8:00 on Wednesday. I think the three of us will be there. Should be there.
I'll be there. Yeah. And my article will be posted. Like I will give an ownership primer that'll be posted like noon Eastern or 1 p.m. Eastern around that time. So you'll be able to get a sense of where ownership stands on Wednesday midday. hopefully come to some of your own conclusions and then pop in that live show with any last minute questions, and we'll get to all of them.
Right now, your biggest stance, and this could change, but what's your biggest stance if you had to pick one player? Tony,
you want to go first, Big T?
I mean, outside of Morikawa, I mean, he'll be my highest, but he's everyone's probably favorite. If you're ready, go ahead. I'll find one that's not as obvious. That's who I'm high on.
Cantlay, 100%.
Cantlay?
Yeah, I'm probably 0 Morikawa, guys. FYI.
You're not playing any Morikawa?
No, because I am huge on the Disgusting Brothers this week, aka Xander and Cantlay. Like those are my guys at the top, and I'm if you want a sneak preview of my core, I think if like I'm thinking 200 single entry, Xander Cantlay Spieth is my start, guys.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how I get to Morikawa because I'm not a huge underweight guy. Like you guys probably play bigger. You guys probably play bigger pools than I do, have bigger player pools than I do.
I don't think anyone plays less players than me, unless.
Okay, really? Okay, so
I love a tight player pool.
Okay, cool. That's good. So we're on the same page.
Somewhere around 30 in normal fields. I don't know about this.
Okay, okay.
And 30 is extremely tight. I mean,
yeah.
Okay, I'm 20.
So you're even lower if you're 20. You're
and I'm double, triple exposure. Pretty much every single one of my guys. I'm not playing them unless I'm getting 2x the field on them.
I love that though. In general, that's the best way to play golf. I mean,
I think so too. I'm open to. I've seen guys work with different strategies. Right, there's some good DFS players that will go under and have some success. I just go with what works for me, and that's worked for me.
I like that it's that way though, because I know me and Wiley are that way too. So it's going to be good to have a lot of that directed in that direction. Besides JBC, I don't think we have a lot that just play everybody.
I'm going.
Yeah, JBC isn't. Yeah, I've noticed that. Is he big in the? Is he? Are we going to get him for any golf stuff? Does he dabble into golf that much? Or
he'll definitely be playing. I don't know if he'll be like. I'm sure he'll hop on a show here and there, but I don't.
Cool.
He'll definitely have his pools up each week though, for sure.
Cool.
He'll just call me an idiot for an hour, so I'm not too excited about that. I'm gonna go M right now.
Okay.
Because of projection on ownership, price. I think he could win. And he just scores an insane amount in a 4-day period. I think he's just going to be a lock in my core. Doesn't have to win, but he will get you points.
Does Kirshner being on Sungjae change your calculus?
Yes, I am off Sungjae because Brian Kirshner is on him.
Terrible play.
So sorry, I'm fading Sungjae M as of 3:53 Eastern time.
So my guy, this is why I like building on Wednesday, first of all, but the guy I got 8% right now, and it can't be that low. He's got to be way higher by lock, but Benny on at 6,800, 60 to 1 odds.
Wow.
Pops is my number 2 value of the whole tournament. He's got to be higher owned than 8%. If he's only 8%, then
Tony, I've got him at 7 right now. I mean, it could go up, but I've got him at 7 right now. So you're kind of right on the money with 8.
His odds. Well, why I like looking at my sheet when people pull it up on the site is because you can kind of look at the price and just line it up with the odds. His odds are so much lower than anyone in the 6Ks. It's just crazy that he won't be higher owned than that. If he's truly that low, he's my favorite play of the week for sure.
I like it.
Do you ever go, Tony, do you ever go major stand? Do you have sort of a tiered pool? Like for me, for example, what I like to do is I will have, let's say 4 guys above 9K, 6 guys between 7.5 and 9, and 10 guys below 7.5. Yes. And my exposure to the 9K plus guys will be all in the 50, 60, 70% zone. And then it will kind of decrease as it goes down. So my 10 guys below 7.5, I'll have, 20%, 30%, 25%, 15%. Do you ever take massive stands on cheap guys? Because I've been dabbling with doing that on occasion when I feel really strongly about a guy, but I haven't always had the balls to do it, because just from the basic philosophy of they're cheap for a reason, there's more volatility and variance based with these guys. If you're going to go 100% on a guy, go 100% on a 9.5 guy or a 10.5 guy. But I feel like if you can identify, if you do, the dividends are massive if you nail the cheap guy. I just haven't always had the balls to do that.
Yeah, to answer your question, I think I do it, but it's in a different way. So like when I won the million, some of my bigger hits, it was Brian Harmon was 6,900. I think I played like 40%. So it's not like playing 100% or 80, but if the guy's 3 or 4% owned and you play 40, I would consider that the same as locking a Scotty Scheffler or stuff like that. So it's a massive stand. I don't know if I would play like 90% of one of those guys, though, to answer your question, just because, there's more variance for sure with the cheapies. But every once in a while, you get a cheapie that's just a mortal lock. I don't know the example off the top of my head, but if some guy is like 7K and he's 25 to 1 to win the tournament or something, I could see doing it.
Yeah.
Ben on is a cult hero in golf DFS, and every show I used to do live, I always end with my winner was going to be Ben on, because I knew at some point I would get it right. But he's the type of guy like Poston at 6,800, and who's in his range?
Guys I like I like Schenk, I like Hoagie. Brendon Todd, we talked about a little bit too.
Those are the guys I hate.
There's a lot of there's a few reasons I won't play Hoagie that I just
play Hoagie in Texas. Everywhere else, Hoagie's out of play for me except Texas. I don't know.
Third place finish last year here, led the field in approach.
It's staring at me, that third, ever since you said it.
Yeah.
There are casinos in Hawaii?
No, it's not legalized, because I remember trying to place bets on DraftKings a couple of weeks ago, and it's not legalized there yet.
All right.
I mean, I have a guy. I could probably find you a guy.
You got a guy?
I got a guy down there.
But isn't Kobe's where's he playing right now? He looks like he's in Hawaii.
Yeah, he's in Maui.
He's showing slips right now. He's betting parlays with Washington winning the national championship and Rory at the Masters for $45,000.
Right. So he must have left then, because I think he placed that in Florida at Caesars. But
he is Kobe DeBoe's internet attorney and friend of RPS.
My attorney, just my personal attorney in general.
Because when I gave you the contract, I text him. I go, just say yes. Just say yes. And I slipped him a little. He has got an addiction to Rory McIlroy that is beyond anyone else's addiction.
I know.
To Rory McIlroy.
Got Rory back there on the wall. He was one of the first wall pieces.
I love Rory. I think
I do too.
Here's the thing that you said, Cantlay too, right? We talked about this yesterday. Cantlay's the one guy I thought he is 100% 1A next to go to live. 100%, right? With Schauffele potentially. And Cantlay just came out and said, you know what? The sort of the archetype of person that went to live is not surprising. And I thought, wow, that's a pretty big to what does that mean? Like, what does it mean? Like they're greedy?
Aren't you the archetype? Yeah.
Yeah. Me? Oh, yeah, maybe. Oh, are you? I thought you meant me. Can't.
No. I was talking about Cantlay. I feel like Cantlay would have been my number one draft pick for going to live.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But then again, he did come up with on PGA Tour Live on a hot mic. He called his fellow players pampered motherfuckers, pampered fucks.
At this golf course. Yeah.
It was at this
It's the
golf course.
Couple-year anniversary of that. Yeah.
So maybe, hey, Cantley's in power. Maybe he's the new Rory. Maybe he's the
Golf
man.
would get so much better viewership if they had hot mics and people wouldn't cancel them for like talking shit, like being that was a terrible shot and stuff.
This
like
is
that.
also the anniversary of JT's hot mic slip. If you guys remember that, and the end of his Ralph Lauren days, I believe. I think that was at this golf course as
That
well.
was at this course too.
Yeah, pretty sure.
He was talking to his golf ball, right?
Yeah. So who knows what's in store for us next week and to kick off the season.
True mind crime. All right, that's it. We'll talk Wednesday. 1 hour, almost exact for this show. That was good.
Perfect.
We're good. Tony, you got anything else to say? Are we good?
No, I probably will not be on the Wednesday show this week, but I'll be on plenty as we go forward, and I'm looking forward to golf with Andy, with Wiley, with the whole team we got. So I'm super excited.
Cool. All right, boys.
Later, boys.
We'll do the outro. Hey, Tony, you did lag a bit. It was like
I know I'm lagging. I got to fix. No, now you're hurting my feelings. The whole show you waited to say it. After I helped you before the show about your mic, now you poured the salt on my camera.
Well, what am I going to do mid-show? You going to change your camera? Go to Best Buy? I can't. I'm just trying to navigate through these waters.
Now I can't move. I got to keep my head still the whole show so you don't know I lag.
Just Ryan will help you.
I need him to help me.
I think it's your internet. I think it's
not my damn internet. Stop saying it's my internet. My internet's great.